Hello, I'm Steph from iDriver Classic, and we are less than 48 hours away from having to be at the Practical Classics Restoration Show at the NEC in Birmingham, March 2026. And guess what? Everything has gone wrong. And I could tell you that it was a run of bad luck, but I'm going to put my hands up and tell you it's entirely of my own doing, because I'm terrible for procrastination and I've done exactly what I tell other people not to do. Ignore the little things. And you know what happens when you ignore the little things? They turn into big things, and then you get to the 11th hour and you cannot solve it. So join me for this calamitous video as we try and cobble together Nancy, the very last bits, and we find out why we're not taking the Humber and what we're going to take instead. Come on, let's go.
So emergency NEC carpet fitting in Nancy, and we're all stopping behind to try and get this finished. Going well so far. So this carpet set was picked up by Steph at the National Rally, and having never fitted a carpet set to a Morris Minor before, this one seems to be fitting quite well. I'm not sure who it was made by, but I think it's quite an old carpet set, so I think the chances of finding another one are quite slim. But no, it's going much better than expected.
Now, one of the other things that had to be sorted was this seat. So essentially, I went on a filming job, and when the car came back, somebody had thrown themselves into the passenger seat with quite some force. Not when I was present, obviously, because I would have said, please get yourself into the car, don't catapult yourself. And I came back and the seat was all skew width and it had snapped down here, and oh my goodness, when I tell you that I shed a few tears, and I just thought, right, don't throw a tantrum because you're in public and you're nearly 40, like it's ridiculous. Anyway, so what the boys have done is they've stripped all this cover off today. And then there was a rivet down here, which essentially helps this seat bend like this. It's a little bit stiff, but I think once it gets into the swing of things, it'll be fine. And with it being one of the original seats from the set that I put in, it was really important to me that it went back in. But interestingly, and as you know, I like to keep things very transparent, this seat, it looks like, has already been repaired a few times, Blaine said, because Blaine was helping Ed with it. And he said that it's been welded in a few different places. But it's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, goodness me, looking at the age of the fabric on the seats, I would say that the seats are probably from, look at, because they only did Duotone for a few years, didn't they? So it's pre-62, I think. You know, so they're blooming old. They're over 60 years old. You're going to find these things. But anyway, that's been fixed as well now. So that is the passenger seat that folds down, which was put into the two doors. It's also put into things like postal vans. You'll see them on disability seats as well, this folding mechanism. I really like it, it's really neat. Now, the later seats, my ones, some other ones that I had used to kind of tip forward. So I much prefer these. I think they're a far neater design. And then what they do is they do that, and then they do that. So they kind of pivot up, which means that getting in the back, as long as you're not too tall, isn't too much of a challenge. Now let's go and see how they're getting on with the carpets. I probably actually best do something. I'm also going to try and work out how I can get these seats cleaned up, because I'd like them to look their very best. When I came back to the job, Ed had started cracking on with other things, and he handed the carpets over to Andy. Now, you probably haven't seen much of Andy in videos. He's fairly new to the ADO team. He joined at, oh goodness me, back end of last year. And he's been with us and he's been doing a lot in the body shop. But that's not Andy's only skill set. And he was talking to me about how he'd fitted these super fancy carpets to a super fancy Porsche. And I thought, right, game on lad, time for you to help with these carpets. And so anyway, I was talking to him and I said, how are you going to know where to put the holes? Because if you buy a modern Morris Minor carpet, a lot of them already have the holes in. And I said, what are you going to do about this? And he said, well, what I'm going to do, he said, I'm going to make a template based on your own car. And then what I'm going to do is trace around onto the back of the carpet, cut it in, and then get it all fitted. So you can see here where he's sort of starting to fit it in. And what he did was, and I know some people are going to say, is why didn't you take the pedals out? But he said, well, we don't need to, because what he was able to do was take a really sharp knife and make a slit up and then get it fitted. And then I was asking him what he was doing with this tape, and you know, obviously if you never watched a carpet being fitted before, and I haven't, I didn't realise that what he was going to do was tape it down so the carpet would sit where it should be sitting if it was all glued in, and then he was going to essentially jiggle things around and get them all into place. But of course you can only make the cut once, so it had to be really, essentially really accurate. I personally would not have trusted myself with this job, but you can see here that he got it right first time. Now if you're wondering why I'm using a little torch, it's because by this point it's pretty late at night and we've got booming rock music on, which is why everything has been put onto mute, because otherwise YouTube will tell me off for using somebody else's song as backing music. The other thing to mention is here is, I've mentioned this before, that this car is an ex-disability vehicle, and weirdly it must have had hand controls on, and the pedals are slightly spaced slightly differently on the car, which is why sometimes when you go for these pre-fit carpets on this, it doesn't always work out. So it's got the original pedal formation in this, but there you go, you can see what it fits like. Really well done, Andy, lovely job. Over to Dennis, and he's going to bring it over to me. Now this is what my seats looked like before. Now no judgment, I am not the best at keeping an interior clean. Usually it's makeup, but we've all been sharing the car and the seats have been looking a wee bit grimy. So what I did was I used a product from the Built Hamber range. It's a degreaser. What I did was I diluted it with warm water. I then used just a normal scrubbing sponge that you would have by the sink at home. Scrubbed it in, let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then I wiped it off with a damp cloth. Now you can see here that it looks good, and I'll show you what it looks like when it was dry, because I felt like it looked even better. Now I was really impressed with this because there was so much grime in these seats. I mean, the seats weren't incredible when I first got them, so to see them looking like this now, I was absolutely chuffed to bits. But what does it all look like when it all comes together? Well, ta-da! Here you go. You'll be able to see it better when we do future videos and in real life, but I was really pleased with this. Do you know what? I'm just going to wear these sunglasses for this bit of the video because I am tired, first and foremost, but secondly, I'm so excited that it's actually sunny, and I just can't believe everything is wonderful today. I mean, the weather is fabulous, the traffic down was okay, and best of all, Nancy is running like she has never run before in her life. Like, I thought way back when I used to have the 1175 engine in, I used to think I used to get really good MPG. I reckon I got about 275 to a tank, and I reckon now on a good run, like really good run, before all this tuning, I was getting 250. So to get to Coventry, to my best friend's house, was usually roughly half a tank, and because I couldn't get back home again on the same tank. So anyway, or if you did, you're running it to the empty, and I don't really like doing that. I don't like taking it below quarter of a tank. And the embarrassing story behind that, by the way, is I was once driving home from work and I conked out less than a quarter of a mile away from my own home, and I thought, never again. So I've never done it again since I was 25. Anyway, that thrilling story aside, let's talk about how the car's running and driving. Well, first of all, yeah, I'll tell you about that, and then I'll tell you about the Humber. Sorry, I'm so tired. So this car, in terms of the driving, anyone who's ever taken Morris Minor on a motorway or driven it hard will know what I'm talking about. When you're absolutely putting your foot down, really going for it, getting up to 65, 70, when you need to be overtaking and stuff. On this drive, completely different. So the whole driving experience was, the only way I can describe it was serene. My foot barely touching the pedal. The car gathering speed at a lightning pace in a way that it never has done before. I mean, I had a man stop and talk to me at the services, and he was shocked that it was a 1098. Like, we were having a little chat, and he was like, God, you bombed past me. I thought, I wouldn't use the word bombed, because I wasn't probably going any more than about 63 miles per hour, but I appreciate the enthusiasm there. Anyway, the Humber obviously is not here. Ha ha ha. Now that is my fault, because I've been so focused on getting this car done, doing the filming work, making sure that things are done for Rustival, making sure my day job is right, looking after all the people in my life, and the Humber kept saying, oh, look at it tomorrow, I'll look at it tomorrow. Anyway, for the want of a nail, a shoe was lost. For the want of a shoe, we now don't have a Humber on this trip. Anyway, the story of that is that basically the hub seal seal was leaking, and I just thought, do you know what, I'm not going to be one of those people that goes, oh, it'll be fine and I'll get towed home otherwise, because it doesn't promote responsible ownership, and it doesn't promote responsible driving. Because what if I broke down on the motorway and then I held up everybody else's day and I knew that things weren't right? That's not fair to anybody. So anyway, would you like to know what we've got instead? I'm going to give you a little peep. Ta-da! We have got Gary the Singer Gazelle, and I'm really excited for Gary to be here because he's lived his whole life being the bridesmaid and never the bride. And I thought, you know what, this is a car that every time we take it somewhere people get really excited, and we've never taken it to any shows or anything. So I thought, right, let's get the Gazelle out. It's a rare beast anyway. I doubt there'll be any others, and if there are, I doubt that they'll be quite as original as that one. And so come and have a look at it, it's be good. Anyway, quarter of a tank of fuel, so that's thumbs up from me in this current fuel crisis, and also economic crisis, aka my bank account's mad because I've spent all my money on absolute rubbish. And oh, I'm merch that didn't turn up. Great, but it's okay because I'll roll it out for Rustival. And I know that some people would say, oh, you're being really flippant about all of this, but you know what, there are people in the world with real problems. Like, I was so upset about my accident, that for me was a real problem. A bit merch not turning up and a car not being ready, you know, there are people that are living through world wars and stuff, so I don't think that I could complain about a little problem like that. Right, that's me nattering over and done with. Let's go. Hey, we've done it. We've made it to the NEC and we are all set up. Now, I'm sure that you recognise Nancy, but you may not know Gary the Gazelle. I thought, well, there's not going to be enough Roots products here for my liking, so I'm going to make sure that if we're losing the Humber, we're bringing in another Roots product to shine a spotlight on one of the best brands, I think, that we lost in the 20th century. So this is Gary the Gazelle. He has had a bit of an interesting life, actually. So from what we could work out from digging around, he'd been in some sort of, you know, lock-up, barn-findy type situation. I know that's a cliche term. And then he went up for sale, I think, with a few other different Roots vehicles. And then he's obviously here now. He went to somebody else before Paul, and then it was Paul's 50th birthday, and he thought, you know what, I'm going to throw my mini addiction away just for 5 minutes, and I'm going to buy something different. And he bought Gary last Easter, and he has been daily driving this car through the wind, rain, snow, hail, every bit of weather that you can imagine, other than the glorious sunshine people expect for Classics. It has been thrown at this car. And it's all original, it's not had any work done to it. So if you are coming to the NEC show, come and find us. Now, the easiest way to find us is, you'll be able to see we are up by the big stage. And if you're hopeless for directions like I am, just basically look on the map and look for the stage, because look, we're next to it. And you can come and see Nancy, you can come and see Gary. And we've also got, and I know it's a shameless plug, but I'll come and show you, come this way. We've also got all the merchandise as well. So before I go, I just want to say that I couldn't have done this on my own. I would have absolutely fluffed it up something rotten. So I want to say an enormous thank you to all my friends at ADO Restoration, in particular Ed for getting Nancy together, Paul, of course, for not only helping with all the work stuff, but coming down and helping with the stand, Andy for fitting my carpet, Paul for lending the car, and of course to our apprentices, Blaine and Isaac, who've also chipped in as well all the way through. I am so lucky for all the friends that I have, for all the help that I have. But anyway, it's time to get going with the show, and I've forgotten something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, here's my sale flag as well, so you can look for that. Oh, that's the thing I forgot. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm so tired. I forgot the oh goodness me, the stick that you put up inside the sale flag. And I just want to say an enormous thank you to the lady on the Jaguar Drivers Club. I rudely didn't ask her name, but she's the editor of the magazine and she's owned her E-Type for over 40 years. And I went over and saw her and she said, oh yeah, of course. And she walked 20 minutes to go and get me this out of a van. And this is what this show's about. It's not just about seeing the cars, it's about the clubs, it's about the community, it's about the camaraderie. I really hope that you make it this weekend. But if you don't worry, because there is going to be a video and it's going to be up before Sunday. I say that like I've even started making it. Right, I best go and get on with that. But until next time when we see each other again, we'll be doing a show review. Take care and drive safely.